What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Thursday, July 4th, 2024, and I have some breaking news to share with you guys. Right now, it is 15:17 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we currently have U.S. nuclear forces on high alert. Last night, there were 4 nuclear war command and control planes airborne and a presidential doomsday plane. Now, we did hear some reports that potentially there could be some kind of an attack today on Independence Day, so this could be related to that. But here we have one E-6 Mercury. This plane is responsible for remotely launching all of our Minuteman III ICBMs and for communicating with our submerged nuclear-armed submarines. And this one's flying over Greensboro, North Carolina. This was late last night. Here was another one in Oklahoma, and here was another one in Kansas, and then there was one in Nebraska, Iowa area, and then here we have a presidential doomsday plane that was airborne. So our nuclear forces are definitely on high alert, and the European Command lowered their security level for bases in Europe from Force Protection Level Charlie to Bravo, so they lowered the security level, so that's a good sign. And for some reason, there's a boil water advisory right now for the Pentagon, Arlington Cemetery, and Reagan Airport in Washington, D.C. due to a drop in water pressure in the Washington Aqueduct. Now, the timing of this is interesting. Could this have been some kind of a sabotage attack right before Independence Day? I think it's very, very possible considering that it's affecting the Pentagon. And an explosion occurred at the Camden factory, one of the largest factories of General Dynamics in Arkansas. General Dynamics is an American military contractor, and they actually produce the Patriot missile systems. And here's some video footage from this factory. They also produce parts for F-16s, M1 Abrams, Strykers, and other types of military equipment. So here we have video footage. You can see something going boom right there. Okay, absolutely insane. So this could have been some kind of a sabotage attack, guys. I mean, these factories don't just randomly go up in smoke like this. I mean, you don't really hear too much about it happening that often, okay? So I think this could have been a sabotage attack by sleeper agents, and also the water aqueduct in D.C. I think that could have been a sabotage attack as well, especially considering that this factory produces equipment for F-16s, Abrams, and Strykers, and I think also the Patriot system. So all that equipment goes to Ukraine, okay? And a viewer in Phoenix, Arizona sent me all these pictures here of a massive amount of U.S. Army tanks and armored vehicles on a train, and the viewer said that they have never seen this before in the area. Apparently, this train stretched at least a mile long. This was at around 5:20 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 1 mile north of Picacho Peak, Arizona, and it was heading towards Phoenix. Here you can see some Bradleys that are painted green. So these are clearly destined for Europe if they're painted green. You have a bunch of these loaders here, and here we have another Bradley. And more Bradleys here. Not sure what this is. Looks like potentially a bridge vehicle for crossing small streams, or maybe a recovery vehicle. And then here you can see in the rear view mirror all the equipment here on this train. Okay, massive amount of equipment in Arizona. Not sure where it's going, but a lot of it. And last night we had more Russian Air Force planes going to Belarus. Here we have an Ilyushin 76 MD that went to Minsk, and then it came back shortly after. And then we also had a Spanish Air Force reconnaissance plane looping in Latvia, close to the Russian and Belarusian border. Okay, so we have to keep an eye on this area. The leader of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko, threatened to respond to any escalation by Ukraine. He was accusing Ukraine of building up their forces on the border of Belarus. And he said that if they try to do anything, that their response would be tough and immediate. And the Belarusian Minister of Defense already threatened to use tactical nukes against anyone that threatens Belarus. He said that Belarus has received appropriate training on them and that they're ready to use them. So it's very possible that Putin could use Belarus to nuke Ukraine, so the blame is not on him, and basically kind of use Belarus as like a mafia boss using a hitman, so the hitman takes all the blame and not the mafia boss. Maybe that's what Putin's going to do, because when it happens, he'll just say, well, it wasn't us that did it. It was Belarus. They were acting out of self-defense. It was their choice. We're not involved in this. It was their choice, you know. And here we have a U.S. Air Force Hurricane Hunter plane flying through Hurricane Beryl, which is now a Category 2 hurricane. Here's the latest forecasted path, and what's interesting is it goes right over southern Texas here as a Category 1 or maybe Category 2 hurricane. So it looks like southern Texas will get hit. Okay, you need to be on high alert if you live in southern Texas, but it's going to go right over the Yucatan Peninsula as a Category 2 hurricane. Then it's going to weaken supposedly to a tropical storm and then re-strengthen before slamming right into Texas, okay? And the latest winds are 110 miles per hour, and the minimum pressure is 974 millibars, so it is weakening quite a bit, but it's still packing a pretty strong punch. And this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply is doing a discount on their 1-month emergency food supply, and to get the deal, you got to go to preparewithnyprepper.com, and the link is in the description below this video. This is a 1-month freeze-dried food supply. It has a 25-year shelf life. Normal price is $237. They've dropped it down to $177. So that's a savings of $60. And it's all packed within 2 rugged, water-resistant buckets. Free shipping is included. $177 for 1 month of food. Where are you going to find a deal like that? They also have a general store, and they're always running discounts in their general store on various prepping and survival items. They have everything from MREs, potassium iodide, to survival seeds. And to get to their general store, you got to click on the My Patriot Supply logo at the top of the page when you get to preparewithnyprepper.com. And you'll see when you get there, they have everything you can imagine. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get $60 off the My Patriot Supply 1-month emergency food supply. That's $180 for 1 month of food, free shipping included. The link is in the description below this video. And also check out their general store. They have everything you can imagine prepping and survival related, and they're always running various discounts there. And here's the latest satellite imagery. So you can see it's bearing down on the Yucatan Peninsula, and Lebanon is currently facing widespread GPS malfunctions and 4G shutdown, resulting in slow to no internet and disrupted calls. This is clearly a sign that war is about to break out. And the Israeli military began clearing mines in the Golan Heights, which is a preparatory action for the war against Hezbollah, so they can get troops and equipment through the minefields. Demining took place in the early 2010s and most recently in early 2023. These were times when tensions with Syria were increased and the risk of a possible conflict with Syria was high. And the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, apparently wanted to attack Iran more severely than they did, and the Biden administration prevented it from happening. This was confirmed by Mossad sources, and that was right around the Culinary night literally right before Culinary night, there were 2 attempts by Israel to launch a strategic blow to Iran, and they called it off at the last minute. And then instead they settled for a very minor strike that didn't really damage anything. I think it damaged like one S-400 system. And that's all Biden, obviously. Biden was probably talking them out of it and maybe even threatening to withhold American equipment if they launch this big attack on Iran. So very interesting. And former Israeli Defense Minister Lieberman called for Iran's nuclear facilities to be targeted by all means, including unconventional weapons. And this comes just 2 weeks after the Israeli Defense Minister met with the American Defense Minister, and the Israeli Defense Minister told him that the window of opportunity to denuclearize Iran is quickly closing. And the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps of Iran, General Amir Hayazideh, said that Iran is waiting for a chance to launch another direct attack on Israel. And the Houthis threatened to bomb the Dimona Nuclear Research Center in Israel within 3 days if Israel does not stop their war in Gaza. Now, what's interesting is, if you remember my update yesterday, the intel that I received from an anonymous source in the army who said that something was going to happen in Israel within the next 48 to 72 hours. And then we get this news that the Houthis are threatening Israel and they're going to bomb the Dimona Center. That's where Israel has their nuclear weapons program. Their reactors are over there for enriching uranium and stuff like that. That's where their nuclear weapons program originated, is from the Dimona facility. And Hezbollah announced that they carried out more than 200 rocket and drone attacks on Israel's Ayelet barracks, Katsavia barracks, and Gamla barracks, also the Nafah base and the Yarden barracks, in retaliation for the killing of the Hezbollah commander Abu Naaman by the Israeli military. And a lot of fires broke out in the Golan Heights and in the Upper Galilee region as a result of all these missile strikes in northern Israel. And an American Special Forces plane arrived in Tel Aviv at the Ben Gurion airport last night, so that is a huge sign that something is about to go down. And the Russian deputy foreign minister said the Pentagon statement allowing Ukraine to strike the Crimean Peninsula with American weapons may lead to an expansion of the conflict. And Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said Turkish President Erdogan is not considered as a possible mediator for negotiations on Ukraine. The statement came just hours after Putin and Erdogan met in Kazakhstan, so very interesting. And France sent 41 electrical generators to the Kharkiv region of Ukraine and also Chernihiv due to the energy infrastructure damage in Ukraine from Russian missile attacks. And Zelensky said that Ukraine will soon submit a nuclear safety resolution to the UN for the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. That's the largest nuclear power plant in all of Europe. It has 6 nuclear reactors, so some kind of a nuclear safety resolution will be proposed. And Russia claims it took control of a district in the strategic town of Chasiv Yar in Ukraine, 20 kilometers west of Bakhmut. And Tucker Carlson confirmed on Twitter last night that he scored an interview with Zelensky. He said he's been trying to get the interview for 2 years. No other details have been provided yet. And Russia expelled a Romanian diplomat yesterday. And China sent a large number of military aircraft and warships to Taiwan yesterday, one of the busiest days so far this year. Apparently 30 Chinese military planes and 8 warships flew and moved into the Taiwan Strait. And Taiwan said that the Chinese Coast Guard boarded a Taiwanese fishing boat on Tuesday before steering it to a port in mainland China and demanded that Beijing release the vessel. The Taiwan 88 was intercepted by 2 Chinese vessels Tuesday evening near the Kinmen Archipelago, which lies a short distance off of China's coast but is controlled by Taiwan. Taiwan dispatched 3 vessels to rescue the Taiwan 88, but the one that got close to the fishing boat was blocked by 3 Chinese boats and told not to interfere, the statement said. The pursuit was called off to avoid escalating the conflict after Taiwan's maritime authorities detected that 4 more Chinese vessels were moving closer. So China basically stole a fishing boat from Taiwan near the Kinmen Island. Now, the Kinmen Island is literally like 1 mile off the coast of China, and we actually moved Green Berets there a few months back. So there's U.S. Special Forces there permanently deployed. And apparently China is claiming that Philippine vessels violated their territorial waters, and they said that consequences are awaiting the Philippines, and the Philippines will defend themselves with the same level of force if they come under assault again from China's Coast Guard in the disputed South China Sea, where Chinese personnel armed with machetes and spears injured Filipino Navy personnel and damaged 2 of their boats in a chaotic face-off last month, the Philippine military chief said on Thursday. Armed Forces of the Philippines Chief General Romeo Bronner Jr. asked China to pay 60 million pesos or $1 million in damages for the 2 Navy boats and to return 7 rifles, which he said were seized by the Chinese Coast Guard personnel during the June 17 confrontation at the 2nd Thomas Shoal. So the Chinese military is really bullying the Philippines really, really bad now. And just about a week ago, a B-2 stealth bomber landed in the Philippines at Clark Air Force Base. Okay, so that is very, very serious, guys. And I want to remind you guys that Russia has threatened Israel. A few days ago, they said that there would be consequences if Israel gives Ukraine those 8 Patriot batteries. So this is very, very serious, guys. This could be biblical. Okay, the Bible says in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 38 and 39, that God would pull Russia down into the Middle East, put hooks in the jaws of the leader of Russia, which is known as Gog in the Bible, and bring him down into the Middle East where he would be destroyed with all his armies. Could this be the hooks in the jaws of Gog, aka Putin? Is God trying to force Putin down into the Middle East to get involved in a war in the Middle East, and then that would give God the opportunity to destroy all of Putin's armies? I think it's very possible. Okay, here's the Bible. The word of the Lord came to me, Son of man, set your face against Gog of the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. Prophesy against him and say, this is what the sovereign Lord says. I am against you, Gog, chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. Many people believe Meshech is Moscow. I will turn you around, put hooks in your jaws, and bring you out with your whole army, your horses, your horsemen fully armed, and a great horde with large and small shields, all of them brandishing their swords. Persia, Cush, and Put will be with them, all with shields and helmets. Also Gomer with all its troops, and Beth Togarmah from the far north with all its troops, the many nations with you. Okay, so it says here that Iran, which is Persia, I think Cush is Libya, or is Put Libya, I can't remember, but these are North African countries, Cush and Put. And Gomer and Beth Togarmah, a lot of people believe, are Turkey and possibly like Lebanon area. Okay, so this is very, very serious, guys. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I might be back later on tonight with more breaking news. I might do a Hurricane Beryl landfall on Cancun live coverage stream tonight. But that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you're enjoying your Independence Day. Have some fun today. Spend some time with your family, because when SHTF happens, you're going to regret that you didn't spend enough time with your family doing the things you love. because once SHTF hits, you're not going to be able to do all those things. So enjoy the relative peace that we have now, because I think things are going to get really, really crazy soon. I think Israel is about to go into Lebanon. Once they do that, everything is going to spiral out of control. Iran is going to start attacking Israel, and then we're going to see Russia and Belarus maybe attacking Eastern European countries in NATO, and then China may attack Taiwan. North Korea may attack South Korea. Okay, remember Putin made his rounds all across Asia before the end of the month. Last month, he went to China, then he went to North Korea, and then he went to Belarus. Okay, so obviously they're planning something. But that's it, guys. I might be back later. And if not, have a good evening. Take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.